Mhm.
All right, and we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Anime Deco. I'm your host, Trooper Khan. Joining me this evening is Sterling Hamilton. Hey, Sterling.
Hey.
Welcome to the show, and this is really interesting. It's my first time interviewing a cosplayer from the anime community, so this is a lot of fun for me. I've been meaning to do this for a while, and you're the first, so welcome.
Thank you. I'm really honored.
So yeah, I'm so curious about cosplay. Cosplay fascinates me. All I know about it is that it's huge. At all the conventions that I've been to, I'm seeing more and more cosplayers, and I'm just so curious about how people get started in cosplay. It just seems so elaborate and like impressive. So I really don't know much about like how one gets started in this sort of a hobby.
Yeah, well, for me personally, it was going to a con without wearing a cosplay the first time
Hmm.
and seeing the environment, seeing how these people are dressing up in like the middle of May. and
Yeah.
and I was, being so interested in costumes, just like even for Halloween, I was instantly taken by it. And I said to
Hmm.
myself, I'm creative. I can do this. And it just started out from there. I think other people have different things,
Hmm.
different stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So you went to a con and you noticed that everybody was dressed up. And then did you decide to like make your own costumes after that?
Yeah, I don't like I kept on seeing online all the cosplays that you can buy, but everything was just too expensive and I knew that I could just go to the fabric store and buy like $20 worth of fabric and then just spend, a couple days working with it with my mom, of course. Yeah.
Very cool. So your mom got involved too. That's nice.
Yeah. By force.
Awesome, awesome. So basically, so it seems to be a common theme. Like I noticed that this like commercial cosplay outfits can be pretty hefty,
Yeah.
hundreds of bucks for one costume that you might only wear, like once or twice.
Yeah, actually, we just purchased a few months ago our first ones to buy online, and they were like $100 easy. Well, 200 for both cosplays. But like, I understand people who do buy it because there's that point where the uniforms are just so meticulous, and then like you have things
Ah,
like Final Fantasy where the buttons are like really exact, and those are the things you
yeah.
want to get really online, right?
Yeah, yeah, I guess so. Maybe some of the stuff has to be like machine stitched or something, or
Yeah.
yeah, or you might need like lots of custom details, like you said, like buttons and things like that. So definitely an eye for detail is, I guess that's one of the things, right?
Hmm.
That somebody who's making this kind of stuff would benefit from. That is really really cool. Because what I find interesting is that making one's own clothes is actually this like really old school tradition. Like I think our grandparents used to make their own clothes. I know that my grandma used to knit these sweaters, and I still have a couple of them for my grandpa. And then somehow in the baby boomer generation, I guess things became really inexpensive because everything started getting made in China, and we entered this culture of everything sort of inexpensive and disposable. And then I don't remember my mom doing any knitting. She has like a sewing kit and everything. I remember I learned how to sew because I was a Boy Scout, so we got to learn how to sew.
Yeah.
But like to the to the limit of just repairing some, like if a seam comes undone or you need to change a button or something, just basic stuff like that. But the art of making your own clothing, I feel like this is like it's like a revival of a very ancient tradition.
Yeah, I mean, my mom did it. She has the
Really?
horror stories about her bathing suit falling apart when she was in the pool, in the public pool.
Oh my.
Yeah,
Okay.
but just
That must have been before Lycra because, now that doesn't really happen anymore because Lycra is resistant to, chlorine and all that.
it was
But
more like she used the wrong fabric and it stretched out.
oh, right,
Yeah.
right. Wow. So like that was a skill that you just had to know back in the day, right? I mean, so
But like I have friends who are so into cosplay that they're like, I'm gonna get into fashion, and they start like learning how to be a seamstress professionally.
That's really interesting. That's
Mhm.
so interesting. So it's like this. See, what I love about like anime culture, it's like it's reviving all of these really, really old school sort of, I guess you could say hobbies, or I like to think of them as crafts. You know,
Mhm.
skilled crafts. You know, as a typical, you know, dude, I guess what I'm obviously interested in with anime is like, robots and Gundams and all that cool stuff, right?
Mhm.
Which is interesting because when I went to my local hobby store, where I haven't been there since I was like a kid, right? And before I knew about all of this, all these Japanese robots and everything, I went there and the place was like deserted. There was nobody there, and I asked the owner. I said, "Hey, man, what's going on? I mean, the place seems kind of quiet." He's like, "Oh, man, I mean, what do you expect? You know, it's a dying hobby." And I had just come from like this anime convention here in Montreal, and everybody was checking out the Gundams, and like, you know, Gundam models are like the hottest thing there. And I was like, wow, okay, you really don't know what's going on, do you? But it was a hobby that was really popular in like the 50s, 60s, and 70s, even in the 80s. But ever since computer games and everything, apparently kids have sort of gotten away from the anything that takes forever and that requires you to use your hands and all this
Mhm.
stuff. But it seems that it's making a comeback with anime culture. So that's really exciting for me. I find that very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if anything, cosplay is making anime and gaming cool. I mean, I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like back when like Star Wars was just starting, people would dress
Yeah.
up in costumes and they'd be made fun of. But nowadays, when you
Hmm.
say I'm a cosplayer,
Yeah.
it's like, wow, really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
Exactly.
fantastic.
Exactly. Absolutely. I agree with you. Like, I remember, seeing these old photos from Star Wars Celebration. I remember thinking, oh my goodness, these guys are really, really into it. You know, they're like crazy. But for some reason, when it's cosplay, I guess you realize that, wow, this stuff is all handmade and they're doing it all themselves. And this is
Mhm.
really, really incredible. And it kind of like breaks the fourth wall of anime a little bit too, because, you know, typically all of this stuff exists on a screen, you know, and we interact with it as this imaginary world. And then, you know, you guys are actually like making those costumes in real life, and that's so cool. It's
Yeah.
really, really amazing. It's like kind of bringing the imaginary to life, you know, and I don't know, I find that really, really amazing.
It's fantastic. I mean, when you get really involved in a particular cosplay, you kind of just feel like the character. And I remember when I first cosplayed Sora from Kingdom Hearts,
Uh-huh.
and I dressed up as it, and I walked out into the living room, and my girlfriend, who has been obsessed with Kingdom Hearts for many, many years since I was 12, she started almost
Oh,
crying
oh
because
my
she said that
goodness.
I was bringing a character to life for her.
That's so cool. That's such a
Yeah,
special moment.
it definitely is.
Oh my gosh. And is your friend with you now?
Yeah, she's right beside me on the couch.
Oh, hey, how are you?
Hello.
uh,
Um,
so, are you Danielle?
yes, I am.
Danielle, it's so nice to meet you. Well, virtually.
Yep, we're definitely a duo.
Oh, awesome. So you two like cosplay together and you like make things together and you also go to conventions together and stuff like that?
Yeah, yeah. We say at the same time.
That is so interesting. And Danielle, how did you get started with cosplay?
I begged and pleaded with my mom to let me go to Anime North that was 7 hours away from me at the time. And as soon as I went, that was it. I was addicted. And that was like 10 years ago.
Anime North, hey, isn't that in Toronto?
Yep.
That's so cool. I'm from Montreal, so in
We
Canada.
go to Otakuthon
Yeah.
in Montreal.
No way. Are you serious?
It's like my second favorite convention, probably.
Really? Wow, I feel all special now. So where are you two from originally?
I'm kind of from the GTA area of Toronto.
And I'm from Sault Ste. Marie.
Oh wow, wait.
Yeah.
Okay, GTA I'm familiar with. Have plenty of family and friends there, but I'm not so familiar. You said Saint Marie?
It's basically because we're in Ottawa right now, if you were to just keep driving west for about 10 hours, you would run into it.
Oh, wow.
Small town, so.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that's in Ontario, is it?
Yep.
That is so cool. I love how anime culture brings together people from like all different parts of the world and like small towns and the cities and everything. So it's made the culture very, very interesting. And I think it's the magic of bringing people together around creative stuff is just, I could never have imagined this would happen growing up. You know, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like I found her picture of Loki. She was dressed as Loki, and I friended her, and that's how we started talking, and now we're engaged.
No way! You got to be kidding me, right?
No,
Yeah.
that's how it happened.
You're kidding! I thought you were friends from like way back when, but you met through the cosplay community.
Yeah. Well, I
That's
saw her from
incredible.
a distance several times, and I'm even in like a video of hers, and we didn't like talk to each other.
That is incredible. I can't believe what I'm hearing. That is so cool.
Yeah, we even got engaged in cosplay.
At it.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. That's such an amazing anime fan story. I love it. Congratulations. That's
Thank
so
you.
cool. That's really, really cool. So are you going to have like a cosplay themed wedding?
We're gonna have a geek kind of themed wedding, like several
Yeah.
things, and maybe have like we've already designed our gowns, and we're just gonna do like wings and stuff. Nothing that's like full on based on nothing a character.
Oh, wow. So basically all original, in other
Yeah.
words.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. That is so incredible. Oh my goodness. Honestly, it's the first time I've heard that type of story.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. I mean, one of my friends here in Montreal is a cosplayer, and I was just asking her about the culture, and she's like, yeah, you know, I mean, people do sometimes meet other cosplayers, and, you know, it does form connections. But in her case, I'm not sure that her significant other is a cosplayer. I think that he's someone who's like a gamer and stuff, but I'm not so sure that he's a cosplayer. But this is a first for me, so very interesting.
Yeah.
We do all of our cosplay things together. We do everything together, so
Yeah.
cosplay is naturally like the next step.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. That is so cool. That's amazing. Very, very cool. And what's really interesting for me is I see a lot of young girls that are actually turning it into like a career, and it's like a new career path as far as I can tell. According to research I've done, it kind of falls under the category of like alternative modeling or something like that. Tell me, what's your experience with that kind of world?
Well, as far as like the professional scene, we did get to be guests at one convention so far in February.
Yeah.
And that was our first experience with it.
We've done
Oh,
a couple
wow.
commissions. I mean, I've done some wig commissions, and she's now in photography, and I model for her. And I think the biggest thing was, I think what people are able to do with cosplay is they're able to gain confidence to even be able to stand in front of a photographer and do that kind of thing. And I like as far as like selling things, I think like it's a huge market. I mean, we've talked about commissions before, but it's just so much, especially when you have to do 2 cosplays for every single cosplay you do.
Yeah, very interesting. Really, really interesting. So in a way, you've also found a sort of like through your passion, it's also let you grow as you know, as a young professional in a way, like getting into photography, getting into the modeling aspect of the hobby also, and who knows where that might lead one day, right?
Yeah, my mom's definitely the type of person who says, turn your hobby into your profession. And she's told us more than once, you better like find a way to make money out of cosplay.
I like that. I like that. Thinking practical. That's awesome.
It's a good supplemental income, if anything. Like it wouldn't be, I can't see it being our career,
No.
but it's good for like extra money.
Yeah, like when you sell prints and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really interesting. So the whole Prince thing, I find this very interesting because I find that in these days, in North America at least, everything's going digital, right? Like all our books are becoming ebooks, all of our films and shows are going the way of like an online delivery model and so on. So it always surprises me that people are still buying things like posters and prints. I mean, I bought like 2 posters and all of my time as an anime fan, which is like over a decade. But this is really interesting that people will actually buy prints of cosplayers dressed up as certain characters. I think that's really interesting.
There's something that people want of like a personal touch.
Yeah.
To be like, it almost puts you in like this exclusive club, like I'm this close to this cosplayer and this is like the proof that I have, because a lot of cosplayers will like sign the prints and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And people like having that physicalness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they also get to support the person and meet the person usually.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So there's like a personal connection that forms at that point.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
like, I mean, I was standing in line to talk to another cosplayer, and this girl was in front of me, and she was telling the cosplayer that there was a lot of reasons, like, around this cosplayer why this girl even went to cons. Like, she, like, gained confidence through this, following this cosplayer, and, like,
Wow.
I think that kind of connection, like, oh my God, it's just incredible.
It's really cool, actually, because definitely when you talk about confidence, I've gotten the same feedback from model builders, actually, whereas, you know, typically people who are very introverted and it's like a solo hobby, but when you start building models and, you know, bringing them to display at conventions and even, you know, online, and people are like congratulating you and like asking all these questions like, oh my goodness, that's amazing, how did you do that? It really like builds a lot of confidence. Even just completing a kid can make you feel a great sense of accomplishment, like you've created this beautiful thing, and fairly elaborate too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think like the cosplay community is so, like, individually, most of us are introverted people, but when you go to a convention, you wouldn't think that of like 90% of the people that are there.
It's also the fact that you get to put on a mask almost and be more like the character that you're representing, which is great. I had another point, but I completely forgot it.
So, would you say, Sterling, that there's an element of role play involved as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I tend to try to be more like, okay, well, Danielle tries to be more like her characters, but unfortunately she always plays the characters that are either evil or kind of anti-hero. And by her being enveloped in that character's personality, it scares people away. Like you when you're Loki and stuff, right?
Yeah, people don't want to talk to me because I have like this face that basically screams like, get away from me unless you have a camera. But in reality, all I'm thinking about is like, what am I going to eat for lunch? Like, I wish I could go have why isn't anyone talking to me?
I love that. Loki's just hungry, guys. He's not angry.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. And like I think that by role playing, you're kind of gaining the most experience out of that cosplay, especially if your character is really outgoing. Like if someone is cosplaying Prompto or something like that, I feel like a lot of people are going to really role play that character out. And you, by role playing somebody like a lot, you kind of gain their personality traits. Like you start like exhibiting them in your real life. And
whoa, cool.
Yeah. It sounds kind of weird, but like I'm a writer, so like when I write different characters, I start like either the characters come from me or the characters start influencing my life, and I think that happens for a lot of other people. I know that there's a lot of people who cosplay. Who would? Well, a lot of people who cosplay Naruto.
Yeah.
They take him and they say, I want to be more like him. I want to be more driven and all that kind of stuff. And I definitely have said more than once, I got to do this because if Naruto was in my shoes, he would stop at nothing.
That's so cool. I love that. So there's a whole lot of motivation then that comes from like all the energy that these writers are putting into these characters, and then that sort of gets transmitted into like your personal life, I guess. So you kind of internalize that and make it your own.
Mm-hmm.
That is really interesting. So it's a lot more to it than just kind of like it's a lot more than just like a costume dress up party kind of thing, right? So there's a whole other dimension to it, like a personal dimension.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Really interesting. Really cool. Wow, it's really interesting. So, so from what I understand, initially, like I guess you start off, you know, either making your own costumes, and then you go to shows, and that's where you kind of get discovered by different photographers and just the community in general, right? And then they can see your work and get to know a little bit about who you are and what you like and things like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, everyone starts off somehow. Personally, for us, when we started off, we just had our names, and then we opened like a Facebook page, and then we started cosplaying like the same kind of characters over and over again. And people started recognizing us for those characters, and then it was the page name, and then I think that not only just being recognized, but like approaching others really helps, because like especially for photographers, like they are so busy, and I think that if you approach them, they'll start recognizing you as somebody who they can approach in the future.
Okay, cool. So taking a like a proactive approach, being a little bit outgoing, going and talking to photographers, that goes a long way.
Definitely.
Interesting.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being shy, because a lot of people are pretty shy. But cosplay allows you to kind of be in different groups, like even if it's like a cosplay group or it's just your friend group, and you can be comfortable in that too.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And how do you approach the issue of I figure in Canada this might be an issue, but I mean, you know, half the year it's like super cold, so I guess there's not a whole lot that's going on in terms of conventions or anything, you know, in countries. So like, what do you do in the winter, cosplay wise?
We go to school.
Okay, cool.
Mostly during the winter, it's like our downtime, and that's really when we make our decisions for our really big cosplays, and like, okay, what kind of time commitment are we going to have to make? That's like the best time to get jobs and like work towards those cosplays, because usually our average cosplay costs about $300 at the end of the day.
Yeah. And that's one cosplay.
So times 2 is $600 per person. If you're bringing 4 outfits, that works out to $1,200 for a weekend just for the costumes.
Oh my! So it really is an elaborate, planned out project. So you have to kind of learn how to manage this fairly, you know, significant project.
Yeah, I mean, each paycheck kind of goes into its own little pot. But to keep on with the winter thing, there are some conventions that are small, but I mean, cold doesn't bother me.
Cold bothers me.
Yeah, I'm the person who like, if I hadn't met her, I would have called myself No Pants Cosplay, because I hate pants. And that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. I mean, even like some Anime Norths, the thing about Anime North that's like really stands out is the fact that it's mainly an outdoor con, and when it gets cold, I'm still not wearing pants, and she's dressed in full leather,
and I'm still cold.
So it's a time for me to be happy, and it's a time for her to snuggle up.
Okay, all right, interesting. Anime North happens like in, I want to say, end of August, though, doesn't it?
Nope.
No, it happens in 28 days today, actually.
Oh wow! Oh my goodness! So it's happening, I guess, in June, right? Well, we're almost May. So.
End of May.
End of May. Wow! Oh my goodness! So like there could be a couple of cold days, I suppose. Although, I mean, it should be warm end of May in Toronto.
It's in Toronto, yeah. So
last year, like half the convention got heat stroke, so we just don't want a repeat of like plus 40 for all 3 days.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, true. It does get pretty hot towards the end of May. Yeah, Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So so it works out basically with your student schedule, given that you're in school, and then so you have a chance to kind of work on your designs, work on your costumes, and then when summer comes around, then when the convention season comes around, you kind of have a chance to have fun with that in your off time.
Yeah, I mean, it's also a time for us to work on ourselves because, you kind of have to keep up with your appearance as a cosplayer, whether it's working
Right.
out, dieting, or, just keeping your skin clear. It's time to kind of set your personal goals as well. And I mean, it's a hard time because winter is like, you just want to eat a cheeseburger under blankets, but
Yeah, exactly. That's really interesting. I noticed that too. Like a few of the cosplayers that I kind of follow on Facebook, they'll be posting pictures of them at the gym and everything, which is really awesome because I think traditionally, nerds have had a tendency of being very like, couch potato and just kind of spending a lot of time reading and in front of the computer and stuff. But, because cosplay involves, basically modeling, it really actually gives you a really great encouragement to look after yourself and stuff, which is really amazing, I find.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I've lost a lot of weight since I started cosplaying. Almost 40 pounds, probably more
No
than
way.
that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
And
amazing.
thank you. And I don't think I would have done it if I hadn't had that kind of drive behind me. Because, like, as much as cosplay community is very open about stuff, we all have our personal goals, whether it's to lose weight or to gain muscle.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's actually like really interesting how it's essentially like a life-changing kind of transformative experience, and I love that. I think that's really beautiful because it kind of it's so beautiful how like it gives you this goal to work towards, but also it's all involving some form of self-improvement in some way or another.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it just gives you another outlook on the world almost and what
Yeah.
you're watching and stuff. Because like no longer do we just watch the anime and the games and stuff like that. Play the games and think, oh, this is a good story. We pick out characters and we say, can we cosplay them?
Wow.
It's just
Very cool.
it's a whole different spectrum.
Yeah, yeah. Very interesting. That's really, really cool. So, if someone wants to have a look at your work and kind of see what you're all about, you mentioned that you two have a Facebook page.
Yep. You can either just follow, like, friend me. I'm always open to get friends, and
Cool.
or we have our Eclipse Cosplay page. It's like I can send you the right spelling, but it's like eclipse, like a moon eclipse.
Eclipse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lunar eclipse.
Yeah.
Nice, awesome. So yeah, you can follow Sterling Hamilton on Facebook and Eclipse Cosplay, which is Sterling and Danielle's Facebook page, which is absolutely fantastic. And did you have anything to add? Anything for like young kids getting into the hobby, or just anything in general?
Do you want to say it first?
Yeah, I can talk first. The main thing is don't be intimidated by what you see. If you're scared of an outfit, just dissect it piece by piece, and everything will slowly become easier. All of us started somewhere with tutorials, and just Pinterest is your best friend. Live on Pinterest.
Nice, nice.
For me, I think that you'll walk around the convention and you'll see tons of cosplayers that like look amazing and you think I could never do that. But these cosplayers have been doing it for 10 more years and everybody's got to start somewhere, like Danielle said. And even if you do a simple cosplay, if you put your heart and your soul into it, you're going to get the recognition and you'll make it. I swear your dreams will come true because if we can make it, you can make it.
That's amazing. That's a great message. Yeah, and it rings true. Like I remember when at one point I had gotten into drawing manga just for fun. I always used to like making handmade birthday cards for my friends and and for my siblings, because I just found it had a really nice like personal touch. So for a while I was doing like these comic book style, like 2-page kind of comics, and I remember my cousin telling me, he's like, the trick is that what you want to look at is see an artist that you like, but have a look at their earliest work, because then you're going to see what it was like when they got started, and then you'll see like it's not always super elaborate in the beginning, but it's a little bit maybe closer to like, hey, I can figure how they would have done that. That's kind of relatable. And then eventually step by step, you just get better and better.
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, it's like anything else. It's like playing an instrument or even working out. Yeah.
So it's all about taking it a step at a time.
Basically, I mean, for me or for us, we know our limits. I'm better at makeup and hair, and she's better at the cosplay construction. It's knowing what you're really good at and taking advantage of it.
Awesome. Very cool. So so you mentioned you're going to be at Anime North this summer. Are you going to any other conventions?
Probably YomaCon. It's in
We
the
want to
States.
go to YomaCon, which is in Detroit, Michigan, and we want to get to OtakuThon, which is in Montreal.
Yeah, I think that's happening in August, right?
Yes.
Very, very cool. Well, we'll stay in touch, and I hope to see you both at OtakuThon. And I don't know if I'll be at Anime North, but I know that my friends and cousins in Toronto, when they hear this, will do everything they possibly can to make sure that I go there, because they've been like, come to Toronto, and it's been a while. So
You definitely need to. It'll change your life.
I've never been to Anime North, just somehow. I don't know how that happened, but I've yet to go to Anime North. So.
You have to.
Yeah, it's really awesome.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. I may just do that. I think it'll be nice to get out for a weekend in May. That'll be a nice outing. So
Yeah.
awesome. Well, it's been really fun talking to you two. I mean, take care, and thanks again.
Yeah,
No
thank you so
problem.
much.
All right. And guys, thanks for watching. As always, leave your comments and questions below, and stay frosty.